Assalamualaikum. Very good morning. So, you can attempt your quiz here. Actually, this is not only required you to some question based on that it manual here, that it as a your guide. This lab, you can try to answer question, right? So, generally, this lab only parts here. First of all, explore the Shodan as a network discovery tools. Yeah, actually, there are a lot more because of the brand or yet tools like and others. They're just using the Shodan. But for you all, if time you can use and discover Tesla, right? Because if you are using Nmap or NetDiscover inside the Linux, that your the Linux in virtual machine is not useful enough because we manage to explore, discover a limited numbers of in and also if you are using in environment, your enterprise environment, yes, you can have exposure. Okay, because you can cover many things and also type of devices. One you can explore. Today, I just give you view of the Shodan. And you can try by yourself. Shodan here more on thing and identify the area of so you can just filter it based on country, cities, and then we wait for others end of you. We will wait another a minute, then I will brief what you need to do. Okay, maybe you can start. So when you see here, just if you want sample of network discovery tools, actually you can try use Nmap later. Especially when you have Windows version of ZenMap. Okay, that's also the one of the network discovery tools. Other than that, you can have network and packet capture and analysis tool as well. Right? Later, you will go for Wireshark. Wireshark can be both. Wireshark can become a packet capture and also packet analysis tools. Two in one, right? For network discovery tools, normally we are using uh, ethical hacking, right? To gather the information. But these network discovery tools are useful when you want to uh, validate your evidence, network evidence, to see is it correct that inside your map, inside your images or network packet analysis, if you similar artifact when using this network discovery tools, right? Okay, but today just try to explore the Shodan. I think some of you also familiar with this Shodan. It's look like a Google, right? Like function of the Google for internet connected device. Scanning IP addresses and indexing metadata of exposed system. Okay. Anyone have used this before? Shodan, your ethical hacking class or what other classes? Anyone use it before? For those that familiar with it, okay, no issue. So this search engine, like we can call it, right, or network scanner, okay, they are more on specific devices. We call it as IoT devices, systems, servers, and others we can try to find lah. Okay, because there are security concern in terms of the exposure of digital assets, especially IoT and industrial IoT devices that are publicly accessible. So that's why Shodan enable or capable to get the information about they can remotely access and scan. So this Shodan widely used in pen tests and digital forensic incident response to identify exposed external and IoT set. Other than that, you can use for your vulnerability assessment, your attack surface exploration. You can scan your own, okay, your own network, your own domain, so that you can see any exposure of your digital asset. So the impact, you as your organization or you managing, for example, your client network or your client infrastructure, you can discover any exposed devices or system. Because why? The attacker also can see the same data or same information, so that you need to close or you need to ensure the exposed device are not vulnerable, right? However, they have some limitation for free use. If you need more broader visibility or features, you need to pay. Okay. To show them, you can try to visit it, beta.shodan.io or shodan.io as well. So the basic idea of it, you can do some filtering based on the product, based on the host name, OS, and others. Okay, you can try to find the cheat sheet later so that you can explore and play around. You can open lah, right? You show that. So you can open your Shodan either in your Windows and directly from your Kali Linux as well. It's my see here, or you can use this beta shodan.io search filter. So you need to log in. So you can try this one, beta shodan.io. Log in just using Google. So you can see some of the information. So this is the filtering or searching. So we can show or you can filter based on here product name, country, and so on. For me, I try to use, for example, Malaysia lah. Right? So if you have your own country, you can find your country code. For example, there are Australian, right? China, you can find it here. Country code for your own country. For Malaysia, MY, that's standard. .my. Right? You can see here. Australia.au, Austria. Okay. For China, use .cn or chn. Okay. So you can use 2 or 3. Normally you use 2 lah, the 2 code. Okay. Example, I just use this here inside my sample. You can try to find, for example, I want to find product Cisco, right? In Malaysia. Put the name country first. Country. And then product. Later you can try to find the cities, right? City, where its location. Sometimes they got also the organization that using it, org, right? Okay, click. There are 90, 100 something where the Cisco product in Malaysia are exposed to the public access. Sometimes they are internal. Also, when they are internal, they cannot be exposed. For example, when you want to access the information, you need to go through the internal network, meaning you need VPN. So it's not available. For this one, exposed publicly. You can see the location of the Cisco product exposed publicly. So in Klang, more, maybe there are service provider use the Cisco. You can see here Cyberjaya, where Cyberjaya here, not much. Then you can click, then you can see the city. Go to Cyberjaya. Go on the service provider lah. This is a company, organization use it. M. Itu. Then you can click later. You can click about the information. So if you see here, there are many ports available. And then you can see also no vulnerability. If there are vulnerability available, they will show you here. But for this one, no vulnerability. So although there are some ports opening, but a bit difficult to exploit. There's no vulnerability found. There's no issue, right? No big issue. For example, other than that, I want to use another product for Fortinet. This Fortinet also available here. In Cyberjaya, they got more, right? 900 something. Because in Cyberjaya, we know lah, there are multiple products because the vendor lah, right? Yeah, many many type of services available because Cyberjaya consider our IT city, okay, smart city. So many service provider from the managed service like data center, security service and others. So most of the time this one are exposed because of they are data center here and also service provider. They are using Fortinet. So you can have some information like what type of server they use. So they didn't expose good here. They are supporting different technology use. Okay, you can see the public key encryption. Other than that, you can validate. For example, later your service provider. You can validate your service provider as well. So you can find the organization and then you can find the cities and so on. So if you see there are no vulnerability, then it's good to proceed with that particular service provider. But sometimes before you subscribe for their service, you can find the vulnerability. Maybe you can consider first. You can ask them to ensure they eliminate all the vulnerabilities, or you can have some SLA. Last time when we signing any tender or any service subscription, we need to ensure our service provider, the third party, where providing the service aware about the security, and then they also fulfill some portion or some level of security posture, right? Like this. Other than that, when you're signing, for example, your with your service provider, you need to ask them, or you need to ensure in your SLA, in your agreement, they need to notify you if any incident, security incident, happen to them or faced by them, or involve our data. That's in agreement. Normally, you need to advise your legal. Every single third party agreement, you need to ensure that. Okay, that's the basic one. So you can explore more. For example, here you can find the MMU, about the MMU expose using domain, host name, right? This is the host name that for the government and others. You can also use the operating system because for operating system itself, they are also very dangerous, especially for those that are exposed to the public domain, right? Because some of the operating system already end of life or end of support. So that's vulnerable. So you can try to find the one, especially for your own organization. Other than that, this information also useful for pen test. Later, maybe you are the one where managing or you are pen test request by third party. So the client itself require you to conduct pen test. You can try to explore your client exposure as well. You can use this. There are also multiple type of tools available. We call it as attack surface management. They are using the same concept. So when you key in, for example, the host name, you key in the domain, they can give you the result. They scan all the required information. But you need to pay more. But this one freely available. You can use. Another example of Shodan here. Uh, I tried to find the vulnerable web server. For example, Apache 2.2.3. We know there is vulnerability, right? With this old version of Apache. So we can try to find. There are still many uh, organizations still using it. So you know lah, when there are some exposure, then when they face the web effacement, so you know why. There are information available from here, right? For example, there are some country cyber criminal, right? They want to attack us. They try to find Malaysian related exposure with the vulnerability, then they can find one. Example here. Two point two three. For example, you are you are required to investigate some data leakage or ransomware attack. Then you can find the targeted or the victim's machine. Is it available here? So if they are available, the exposure, then you know lah, the possibility is very high, right? Example here, I'm using the Apache. There are in Malaysia still 199, right? Okay. For example, others can try to find our neighbor Indonesia ID, like Indonesia using ID. So how many available? Indonesia more than that, 400 to 427, right? Still use the vulnerable web services. If you find it, it's not only, sometimes it's not the small company, but they are still some of the big company using it, right? Maybe there are some services they not actively use, but they still open. So that also can become the entry point of the attack, right? So if you are managing your own company security, you need to explore this. You need to scan. So I mean, if let's say you found there are servers or services not active but still exposed to the public domain or public network, then you need to ask the IT person to shut down or to disable it. Now we come to 100 already. Okay, you can see here, high school, for example, this is not active, right? For example, there are no IT admin, for example, then it is also very dangerous, right? They don't actively manage. But other than that, you can see here, UPM. It's a big university, public university. That's my university last time, right? But still exposed. There are 8 result, or can say that services like using this. Some of it, for example, here, their student expo, their journal. Okay, so some of it is not actively managed by the IT admin, but still, if they are using the domain of that organization, they are exposed to the attack as well. Okay, for example, here you can see they only open, yes, good, they only open these 2 ports, but only for web service. However, there are a lot of vulnerabilities associated with the Apache web services. See here lah. Every year they got, right, based on the year, you can see this vulnerability. The latest vulnerability, the version earlier than this version, they have the escape query. Okay, so that you need to upgrade. So for example, if your client, this is your client, you need to advise them to update their web server, patch their web server. If cannot update, then you need to install new lah. Because sometimes the legacy system still used because of there are no upgrade version. But this one, I think Apache no issue, they got the upgrade version. So you can see, you can sort the vulnerability based on the criticality. You see here, this is from the side, major attack, I think, okay, or ops. The highest, see, this is the highest level of criticality of the vulnerability. For example, here, if they are running on Windows, this web server vulnerability can also expose their host operating system to the attacker. There are many, you can see. So if you want to do pen test, right, for your client or for others, normally you can use this information first. This is very easy information. It's okay, you know already they are running using this particular vulnerable Apache and others, then you can exploit it. This is how the easiest part for your information gathering, right? This is just example. So when you are doing the forensic investigation, you know already your company or your client has some exposure, and then you can find the targeted machine that normally associate with that particular attack. Okay, for example, you know, these data are inside this repository, inside this server. So you can try to find the vulnerable one, right? For example, here you can find SQL, right? SQL. I'm not sure the version, the latest version. You can find which MySQL vulnerable SQL version. Older, for example. This is the older version. Is it still still used or not? Okay, no issue. So you can try to find other version. Okay, 8.0. Product. Okay, no issue. So no issue lah. Right. Because most of the time the database is not exposed. But now you see there are also some exposure in MySQL without the specific version, right? This version 10, okay lah. The CBE details, okay. 6.0.9, right? 6.0.9. No, but MySQL there are more. Okay, you can find lah, right? Version 10, okay, still consider okay. CVE details, you find the vulnerability. Okay, others no vulnerability lah, right? The previous version, they are vulnerable. You can find, for example, here they got some vulnerability. So this is how your information gathering can be. But this is also considered dangerous when the MySQL server are exposed to the public, right? This is here based on our TM, because TM consider the service provider, so many company using it. Right? In database, so no vulnerability, okay lah. But they are opening many ports. Okay, and this is just some information. Sorry. Okay, you can explore about it. So other than that, for example, here there are some web technologies used, information from that also useful when you are conducting your digital forensic and investigation or incident response. Right? So last time I'm using the attack surface management like from scorecard, okay, security scorecard. Okay, this one, okay. It's a paid version, right? Paid version of your exposure management or attack surface management. They are actually using the same concept with the Shodan. Okay, and then we also using last time the different, okay, attack surface management. So they will give you a score, right? If you have the exposure, for example, there are some exposure from your side. The can find. Oh, no, oh, okay. This one you can use source name. there are many exposure, right, for MMU. You can see from Melaka, Putrajaya, Cyberjaya, right? And use also the OS, right? OS. If they are exposed about the OS, you can find OS Windows. This is the end of life, end of support. If you can find there are still some company using it, that means they are vulnerable. You see the organization that's still using it. Alibaba, maybe this is inside the club. They are some user, for example, they try to create the instant in the cloud, but they did not secure it. But sometimes not used by the organization, maybe personal and others, but still exposed. Alibaba is cloud service provider, so they are providing the service. Maybe their user that use this. You can see there are some vulnerability. TM technology, maybe the TM cloud. Okay. Vulnerability, okay, no issue. 7-Eleven. They're still using 2008, but no vulnerability exposed because they keep update. Maybe they disable many things. They only allow SSH and this service. Port, you can find a port 3389. Port 3389. One for remote desktop only. So meaning they are managing it using SSH and remote desktop only lah. So it's not exposed to the public service. Fine, yeah. So there are no available vulnerability, but still can be explored if you know how to do it lah, right? See, they're using Ubuntu to use open SSH. Okay, that's just information lah. There are many other ways you can find information about you. For here, for example, the vulnerability exposed actually from another university, okay, not from MMU side. Because last week they have exposure also from the, I think, the ransomware. Okay, so this is the difficult part where there are information available in the network, so everyone can find it. Can find previously. Uh, in, one, reported covered 26. Okay, leak size you see here. This is my previous university. Last time we have um, assessment to all the information asset. But after that, after 10 years, I'm not sure they are using it. still managing it or not, then they are exposed to this. From here also you can find there are multiple servers that vulnerable. Okay. Not domain, this host name, right? Using host name. There are many exposure, right? E-learning, you know, e-learning also got some critical. Yeah, yeah. E-learning they are using cloud, our cloud, TM cloud, but they are one which manage it. Normally they are using the model, the similar platform using by our EBYs. But they are managing by themselves, but they're not properly batch. Okay, I see Moodle. Same like our EBYs. Our EBYs also using Moodle, but maybe they not update the version. Okay. So when they are attacked, for example, here you are required to do forensic investigation about this type of attack. So you need to go through your Shodan, okay, and then inside your Shodan you can find some of the vulnerable. Where are the database that vulnerables, right? For example, you can suspect they are one of the vulnerable servers become the entry point and also the data captured by them from here, right? So you can use some filtering. If there are 48, maybe you can find based on the OS, right? They are e-learning, vulnerable, and many others. This e-learning actually the active one. For inactive, maybe can become part of their entry point as well. Inactive service and others lah. Okay. So although sometimes only one entry point, they can expose your company or organization to this type of uh, incident, right? You see, 107 gig. I'm afraid my information also leak, right? Okay, especially in their Active Directory and also their student information system. So this is how this work. You relate about their incident and then you relate back with what you can find in. So then you can start with, okay, your investigation. I'm not sure they investigate or not. Later I will ask my friend how they dealing with this incident, because when this incident happened, they are required to report to NAKSA and also JPDP, Jabatan Perlindungan Data Pribadi, or the Data Protection Department in Malaysia. So how they deal, I will ask them. Okay, this is the information you get from. Okay, there are many other searching. For example, you can search for vulnerables. This one for location for city. This is for UPM. UPM also use server to 0086 last time, and then city actually in Balakong. They found it, right? And here, how commonly our CCTV, right? Normally CCTV become target. They can take over our CCTV based on the Shodan as well. And they can find from the product name, they know the product, vulnerable product, for example, heat vision here. Then they try to deep dive into the location, companies, and others. Right? You can try to product. How to spell heat vision, right? Heat vision. I became blur. So you see, in Malaysia itself, there are 27,000, almost 28,000 IP camera for this brand are exposed to the public domain. But there are some vulnerable, there are also not vulnerable. Because CCTV normally did not manage uh, by their own IT, they manage by security. So last time I also involved with the CCTV management. I said that our security, our physical security officer, they got department, security department, need to ensure they also registered their CCTV into our IT asset. Because when they are digital, they need to manage also by our attack surface management. Because if not, the vulnerability of the IPTV or IP camera also can become entry point to our network. Right? So you see, there are IT, there are OT, operation technology, need to be combined, need to be managed also. Okay, from here you see there are a lot, right? Cyberjaya itself, 5,000. Although we are small, Cyberjaya, but because of smart city, right? They are smart, but they also exposed. You can see they're managed by TM. Most of it managed by TM, because TM consider service provider. IPTV, right? Maybe there are no vulnerability, but there are some also got some vulnerability. See, for IPTV camera, they are opening a lot of port here. They use also web service. It is from Cyberjaya. There are no vulnerability, but still they are exposed to the public domain. If you know the vulnerable IoT devices, you can find here. I think that's all for your Shodan, right? You can do many things for your Shodan. Other than that, you can use also Nmap, network mapping, or ZenMap, okay, to scan your network, host recovery service, and OS fingerprinting. So last time that I mentioned before, we need to score, right? Score posture, because we obtain our scorecard, right? This one, our risk, using this security scorecard, they give us the score. For example, overall score 59. Our grade becomes C. So we try to find, they give you the report where is the part where our score are decreased. And then we can find all the information about the web services, for example, our email server exposure, email server configuration. So when we find this information and then you do and map to validate, we asking the vendor or the IT admin to close the vulnerability. Okay, then to eliminate the vulnerability. After they do that, we scan and then we send the critically report for them to ensure they are following the standard of security until our score become A. Then when the score become A, that means the higher level of security posture, then they can allow us to subscribe for cyber insurance. Okay. Other than that, you can use MyScan, NetDiscover, Zix. Zix is some of the IDS actually, network security monitoring, NetFlow, Census, and other tools. Okay, at least you know how that network discovery tool can help you to identify the information or to obtain the information before you can start your network forensics and analysis. Next, we're moving to the network capturing and packet using Wireshark. This one also you can do by yourself, right? You can use inside your Linux as well. Okay. If you don't want this one, also can install inside your Windows, right? But for those who don't have Windows, you just use in your Kali Linux. Kali Linux already built in, can open and run directly. Okay, any issue with the Wireshark? Can you open your Wireshark, especially in your Kali Linux? Before that, I need to. These tools only to explore the information lah.